Hello everyone, I'm Raksha, a computer science BTech student. So this is my second presentation of Task 3 and I'm very much excited to be here and share a journey of mine that completely reshaped my mental model of how the software interacts with the complex hardware. So the title of my presentation is that when your app says done but the screen disagrees. Yes. Now if you have ever built a simple mobile app or a website, you know that we generally expect the things to happen instantly. You click a button, a variable changes and the screen updates. We are basically trained to believe that the code execution and the physical reality are the same thing. However, when I started my journey with the Liquid Galaxy uh, and building my first controllers for that, I hit a massive wall of confusion. I would write a command to move a camera to a new city. My code would run perfectly and my terminal would tell me that it is success. But then, when I looked up at the massive multi-screen display wall, it had no changes, or at least it didn't look like anything was happening yet. So that gap, that 5 or 10-second window of silence made me doubt everything. I thought my network was failing, or the SSH commands were wrong, or that I simply wasn't a good enough programmer to handle a system this big. Today, I want you to walk through that why that gap exists and why it's actually a normal part of the system and how changing your mindset about the success will make you much more confident and effective developer for Liquid Galaxy. So, what is the core problem for this? Yes, the heart of the frustration I felt comes down to a fundamental gap between two different concepts. The first one is the logical completion, and the second one is the visual completion. As developers, we live and breathe logic. In our code, when we send an instruction and the system acknowledges it, we consider that the task is done. Then the function returns, the promises resolves, and the app moves on. But in a massive high end visualization system like a Liquid Galaxy, receiving an instruction is just a very first step in a much longer story. I remember a specific time when I was testing a camera movement command. I was staring at my logs and they were showing perfect and clean execution. Now, my Flutter app even showed a bright green confirmation message saying that the location was loaded. But when I looked at the actual display wall, the camera was still in the middle of a very slow and the graceful glide across the ocean. Because I was so used to the instant world of web or the mobile applications, I actually panicked. And when I thought that the command had been ignored or lost in the network somewhere. My immediate reaction was to start clicking the button over and over again and again, thinking that if I just spammed the command, the screen would finally listen to me. But what I didn't realize at that time was the system was already working as hard as it could render those features and those frames. This experience taught me a very important lesson that I want to pass on. That is, that logic is instant because it's just a data. But rendering is physical work that takes its own time. They operate on two complete different timelines, and if you don't respect both, you'll end up fighting a system that is actually working perfectly fine. Now, yeah, to really master the system, we have to talk about that what visual state actually means. In the world of Liquid Galaxy, the visual state is simply that the reality of what is physically appearing on those screens at a given moment. So, one of the most surprising things that I discovered is the visual state isn't something your controller can actually check in a traditional way. In most programming, you can ask the computer that is this variable equal to 10 and get an answer, which is a very normal thing and an easy thing to do. But you cannot easily ask a Liquid Galaxy rig, is the user currently seeing the target mountain at the 100% resolution? No, we cannot do that with the Liquid Galaxy. So the visual output is an emergent property. This means that it's the final result of a huge number of independent parts working together. The rendering engine is processing textures, and the GPU is pushing the pixels, and the network is keeping several different computers in a constant handshake to stay synced. So when I first started, I tried to treat the screens like a simple variable, something I could confirm before moving to the next step of my code. But the screens are more like a living river. They're always moving, always loading, always adjusting themselves to the network. So there is no single moment where the system sends a signal back to you saying that okay, I am now 100% stable and perfectly still. No, this is not gonna happen. So once I stop trying to treat the visual result as a piece of data I could verify, I realized that my job wasn't to watch the screen through my code, but rather to ensure that my instructions were so clear and so well formatted that the system would have no choice but eventually get it right. I find it very helpful to think that of this as a story with the two different characters who move at a different speeds. So the first character is the application state. So this character lives inside your controller app. It is logical, it is clean, and it moves at the speed of light. You press a button, a function executes, and the app's internal state changes instantly from idle to moving. And then comes the second character, that is the visual outcome. This character lives on the display wall, and it is much slower because it has to deal with the real world. It has to worry about the hardware limits, how fast the textures can be loaded from the internet, and how long an animation is supposed to last. So during my early days of development, I would see my app report success immediately, but the wall would still be zooming or showing a blurry, low resolution textures or across the screens. At first, I was totally convinced that I had made a massive mistake in how I formatted my commands. I would spend hours and hours rereading my code, convinced that there was a hidden bug that was causing these many delays. But eventually, I had I had a thought that the logical success only meant that the envelope containing my instructions had been delivered to the master node's front door. What happens after the master node opens that the envelope and the actual rendering and the syncing between the screens is a completely separate process handled by the hardware engine. Knowing that these two things are independent helped me stop chasing that imaginary bug, and it allowed me to trust that if my logic uh, was sound and the hardware was eventually fulfilling its part of the deal. Now, if you want to understand why there is a delay, you have to look at the Liquid Galaxy, how it is built. Now, um, it isn't just one powerful computer, it is a distributed system, which means it's a team of computers working together. You have a master node that acts like a conductor, giving out the orders, and several slave nodes that act like a musicians, and each running at a different screen. Because of uh, uh, this architecture so is spread out over a network, getting every single screen to a perfectly sync up at every single microsecond is a massive technical challenge. So each node is doing its own heavy lifting, and sometimes one computer might be a tiny bit slower rather than the core computer next to it. So when I first saw a slight mismatch during the transition, maybe one screen lagged by a fraction of second, and I thought I had broken a capable of what it is, and that my network was failing, and that this everything was running in my head constantly. I would panic and restart the whole rig, which actually was just wasted more time and didn't solve anything. Eventually, I learned that the minor delays or the tiny hiccups between nodes or just a natural part of is just a natural part of how the distributed system works. It's not a failure of the system, and it's a characteristic of the architecture itself. So instead of fighting it and trying to force instant perfection, I learned to design my controllers to be latency tolerant. Yes, this means that building applications that understand that a small or a temporary difference between the screens is totally okay, and the system is designed to fix itself in a matter of moments. Now, this was where the application control ends. So this was perhaps the most humbling lesson I had to learn. As developers, we have to accept that we do not have total control over the final visual. In a normal desktop or a mobile app, you control the colors, the text, the exact timing of every pixel. But when you work with the Liquid Galaxy, your responsibility actually has a very clear finish line. Your job is to send a properly formatted, valid instruction to the rig. You are responsible for the SSH connection and the KML syntax and making sure that the master node accepts the packet. But once that packet enters the system, the hardware rendering pipelines takes over and you are no longer the one in charge. The GPU determines the frame rate and the rendering engine decides like how to prioritize the texture loading. The network speed determines how fast the slave node receives the update data. Now, I really struggled with this at first because as a programmer, I wanted to be the boss of the whole process. I felt uncomfortable not being able to guarantee the exact moment the screen would stop moving. But I eventually realized that letting go for that control actually made me a much better developer in the Liquid Galaxy environment. It allowed me to focus all my energy on what I was actually good at, writing clean, reliable code, and let the Liquid Galaxy hardware do the heavy lifting it was built for. Now, it's about knowing the difference between your responsibility as a coder and the hardware's job as a visualer. Now, KML files. KML files are basically the language we use to tell the Liquid Galaxy what to show and how to render, at what time the frames or the features has to be rendered on the screen. One of the biggest mistakes I made early on was thinking that because of KML file was successfully transferred to the master node, the visualization was done. I thought, well, the file is on the hard drive now, so the image should be on the screen. But the KML file is just a list of instructions. It is an expression of intent, not a confirmation of the reality. So think it of like a recipe in a restaurant. If you give a chef a recipe, it does not mean that there is a hot plate of food on the table. The chef still has to read the instructions, gather the ingredients, heat the pan, and cook the meal. I remember one specific time when I resent the same KML file for 4 to 5 times in a row because the screen didn't change in first 3 seconds. I was convinced that the upload had failed. Later, I realized that the system was actually working on the very first file I sent. And by sending it 3 more times, I was just making the chef confused and slower. That moment was a huge turning point for me. I stopped seeing KML as a finished result and started seeing it as a polite request. This small change in my mind helped me be a more patient and stopped me from overwhelming the things and the system with the repeated data. Now, so this is the KML code that I have written for the task 2 Flutter app, building a Flutter app for the Liquid Galaxy. This was the KML file. Now, the camera position and the visibility. The camera is the eyes of the Liquid Galaxy, and the way it moves has a massive impact on how a user and a developer perceives the system's performance. When you send a command to go to a new location, the camera almost never teleports. Instead, it usually glides or rotates smoothly to make the experience feel natural to the person who is watching. So during that transition, you aren't at the final destination yet. So the visualization you are expecting isn't the visible yet. I experienced this constantly while testing my location based commands. My logos would say the success, but because the camera was in the middle of a 5-second rotation, it looked like nothing had changed. I would stare at the screens thinking the system had ignored my command or that my code was broken. But if I had just waited a few more seconds for the moment to finish, the destination would have appeared perfectly every time I ran them. So, this taught me that the human perception is often fooled by smooth animation. As developers, we have to be patient observers. So, we need to wait for the camera to actually arrive before we decide if our code worked, if it is successfully executed. Don't let a smooth camera transition trick you into thinking your backend logic has failed. Now, One of the most challenging things about Liquid Galaxy is that the timing is not deterministic. This is a fancy way of saying that the exact same command might take 2 seconds today and even 7 seconds tomorrow. It also depends on how much the system is doing and how many people are using the network and how graphically intense the specific area you are looking at happens to be. In my early version of my controller, I tried to solve this by adding the hard coded delays. I would tell my app, wait exactly 4 seconds, then show the next UI element. But this was a total failure. Sometimes the 4 seconds was a way too long and the user was just sitting there staring at a finished screen. Other times the 4 second was way too short and the app would try to move on while the screens were still blurry and loading the textures. I learned that you simply cannot hard code time in the distributed system like the Liquid Galaxy. You have to build a logic that is flexible and patient. You have to accept that the system will take exactly as long as it needs, and your controller should be designed to handle that variability without throwing any error or getting the user confused. Now, let's talk about a very common mistake called retry flooding. This is a trap I fell into more times than I care to admit. When I didn't see an instant change on the display wall, I would hit the execute button again and again and again. I honestly thought I was reminding the system to do its job, or that maybe the first click didn't go through. In reality, I was actually making the system much slower and less stable. Every single time you send a command, the master node has to stop what it's doing and pass the command and send it out to the slaves. If you send the same command 5 times in 3 seconds, you have now created a traffic jam in rendering a pipeline. The system might try to start the first animation, then gets interrupted by the second ones, and then the third, which leads to a starting, glitching, or even a full system crash. I learned that the most professional thing to do when a screen is slow is to trust your code and wait. Give the system the room it needs to breathe and process. Letting the first instruction finish is almost always the fastest way to get the final result. Now, because I'm a very logical person, I tried to engineer my way out of this problem by writing code that would detect if the screen was done rendering. I wanted my app to be smart. I wanted it to say, okay, I see the city is now fully loaded and so on. So now I will enable the next button for the user. But I quickly found that the Liquid Galaxy does not really have an easy way to tell you that. There is no I'm done rendering button that you can press in the API. So the system handles the drawing of pixels deep inside its own hardware, and it does not usually report the status back to a remote controller. When yeah, when I tried to build these confirmation layers, I just ended up with incredibly messy and complicated code that broke every time the network had a tiny hiccup. Now, it made my application harder to maintain and much slower for the user. Eventually, I realized that I was trying to solve a problem that didn't need that kind of solution. I deleted all extra code and focused on making my initial commands as solid and reliable as possible. The result was much faster and cleaner controller that was much easier for other people to understand and fix. Now, designing the controllers under uncertainty. Uh, Designing for Liquid Galaxy is really about accepting the uncertainty. In most of our computer science classes, we are told that the uncertainty is a bug. We want to know exactly what is happening at every microsecond. But in a distributed visualization system, a little bit of uncertainty is a core part of the architecture. Instead of fighting against this, I learned to embrace it as a design constraint. My mindset shifted from I must control every pixel on that wall to I will send a perfectly formatted instructions and trust the system to get there. This change in thinking actually moved my focus to where it belonged and on things that I could control. I started focusing on validating the user's input before I sent it, making sure my SSH connections were built strongly and ensuring my KML was error free. Then I realized that accepting uncertainty isn't a sign of being a lazy developer. It's a sign of a developer who truly understands the complex multi-machine environment they were working in. When you stop fighting the system's nature, you start building the tools that actually work in harmony with it. Now, building my yeah, building my controller in the Flutter taught me a lot about the human side of this technical problem. Flutter is an amazing framework because it is built for the speed and the beauty it has. When you tap a button in a Flutter app, the UI reacts instantly within no time. However, like as we have already discussed, the Liquid Galaxy wall is not an instant. This created a very strange disconnect for the users. They would tap a button, see a success message on their tablet in less than a second, but then they would look up at the wall and see nothing happening yet. This made the users feels like the app was broken or that it was lying to them. So to fix this, I realized that the problem wasn't the technical, it was linguistic. The words we use in our UI matter a lot. I changed my pop-ups menu so that instead of saying done, they said the things like instruction sent or the updating visualization. This might seem like a small or an unimportant change, but it changed the entire experience for the user. I told them that app has done its part, now just give the screens a moment to catch up. It aligned their expectations with the reality of the hardware, and suddenly that 3 seconds delay didn't feel like a bug anymore. It just felt like the system was working on something big. Redefining success in Liquid Galaxy. This was my biggest personal moment. uh, I had to redefine what success actually looks like for me as a developer. In almost every other kind of programming, success is equal to the visible result. If you write a code to change a button to red and the button is red, you have succeeded. But in Liquid Galaxy environment, I had to start defining success differently. I started asking, was the command formatted correctly? Was it sent over the network without any errors? And did the master node acknowledge it and received this receiver packet? This thing, if the answer to all three of those was yes, but then my code was 100% success, even if the screen took another 6 seconds to actually show the result. When I stopped blaming my code for the rendering time of the hardware, I felt so much more confident. I could focus on making my command delivery system completely bulletproof. This change in perspective helped me stay calm during the live demos and allowed me to explain the systems to others without sounding defensive. So, success is about the quality of your code and not the speed of the hardware's GPU. Now, managing the user expectation. At the end of the day, we aren't just writing code for ourselves, we are writing it for the people who want to explore the world. And users get frustrated when they don't understand why something feels slow. I learned that managing expectation is just as important as the backend code itself. In my controller, I stopped trying to hide the fact that there was a delay. Instead, I acknowledged it. I added a small loading indicators, status bars, and messages that explained exactly what was happening in the background. If a user know that a complex 3D transition takes a few seconds, they aren't going to get an angry or start tapping the screens like crazy that I used to do before. Instead, they will sit back and enjoy the smooth movement of the camera. So this clear communication through the UI is the most effective way to prevent users from spamming the buttons. It builds trust. So when the user feel like app is in the loop and knows what it's doing, they feel much more comfortable using the system. Even if it takes a moment to load the final image, that feels okay for them. Now, this is very important concept in computer science called event convergence. This basically means that even if a system is messy or inconsistent right now, it will eventually reach the correct and intended state. Liquid Galaxy is a perfect real world example for this principle. In my early days, if I saw a screen that looked a little bit off or a transition that looked a bit shaky, I would jump in and try to fix it immediately by hitting a reset or resending the commands again and again. Most of the time, I was actually just interrupting the system while it was in the middle of fixing itself. I learned that if my instructions were valid and clean, the system would always stabilize on its own way, and if I just gave it a few more seconds of peace. So the stabilization is a process and not a single instant event. Trusting that the system will converge on the right image allowed me to stop over troubleshooting and start really appreciating the incredible power of the distributed architecture we are working with, that we are working right now. Looking back at my journey, I can see a very clear patterns of pitfalls that I fell into in the most cases. I was too fast to assume that the network was broken. I was too quick to restart the services. I assumed that 4-second delay meant a total failure of my whole implementation. Every single one of these reactive behaviors actually caused more problems than the original delay did. If I could go back in time and talk to myself when I was just starting out, I would say, Raksha, just take a breath and wait. Observing the system is the most important part of debugging. You need to see how it behaves when it's loading and how it covers from a lag. When you react too quickly or instantly, you are just adding more noise to a very complex system. So most of the bugs I thought I had were actually just me being impatient with the hardware. So learning to avoid these reactive habits is what eventually turns a beginner into a professional and reliable Liquid Galaxy contributor. Now, so after all these mistakes and lessons, what are the actual best practices? I have boiled them down to a four main points that I follow every single day now. Clean commands. Always make sure your KML SSH strings are perfectly formatted and validated before they were ever to leave your app. The second is the no flooding. Build cool down timers into your buttons so that the user physically cannot spam them even if they want to. Then comes the smart UI. Use language that reflects the hardware's reality and use words like syncing or updating instead of done. Tolerance. Then comes the tolerance, that design your logic to handle the fact that every transition will take a slightly different amount of time. So these four principles are the foundation of every stable controller I build now. They make my code easier to read, much more reliable for the end user, and most importantly, much easier for me to maintain and update over time. Now, you might be sitting there wondering, why does she care so much about this one specific detail? It matters because it massively reduces your stress as a developer. When you truly understand the difference between your code logic and the hardware's rendering, you stop feeling like you have failed every time and the screen takes a few seconds to update. You realize that you did your job correctly on your hand, and now it's just the hardware's turn to do its own job, and let a space to work for that. So this understanding makes you much more efficient developer. You spend less time in chasing a ghost bugs and much more time building a cool and innovative new features. Now, to wrap up everything today, I want to bring you back to my main point. Like, when your app is done but the screen disagrees, it does not mean your implementation has failed. It just means that the story at a specific command isn't quite over it. Liquid Galaxy is beautiful and a complex, powerful distributed system, and it is not a simple desktop monitor, and it shouldn't be treated like one. And I think so. Because of the logic, the rendering live on completely different timelines, we have to build our application to respect that reality. By understanding the architecture and accepting the limits of our control as coders and designing our own the user interfaces with honesty and clarity, we can build incredible tools that people will truly love to use. My journey from being a confused to being a clear taught me that writing the code is only half of the work that we do. The other half is understanding the system it runs on. So this was my experience. I hope my experience help you to avoid some of the mistakes I made and inspire you to build even better and more reliable controllers for the Liquid Galaxy rig. I would feel truly happy to respond to any sort of questions or the thoughts you might have on this topic in the community chat. Thank you all for your time and thank you for watching.